Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Manoj Reddy, and in the last video I discussed about my UPSC journey. So in order to sum it up, so in total I've given 9 attempts, 3 IFoS and 6 CSE, and in that I've cleared 3 IFoS prelims, and in that I qualified twice for IFoS interview. And from third attempt onwards, every attempt have scored above GM cutoff in paper 1. So since prelims is just a week ahead, I will be talking about various important aspects about prelims, especially paper 1. So there is a unanimous opinion on the importance of PYQ. Without delaying much, let us address the elephant in the room, that is PYQ. So why PYQs are important? We have only 2 sources at our disposal to understand the mindset of the examiner. First is syllabus, pre-syllabus. Second is PYQ, previous year questions. So since the syllabus which UPSC has given is vaguely defined, so the only reliable source is PYQs. By analyzing the PYQs, we can identify set patterns through which we can maximize the chances of finding the answer. Throughout the years, I have identified few such patterns. So today we'll discuss a few of them. Now, I would like to bring your attention to a disclaimer about PYQ analysis and pattern recognition. That includes pattern recognition and understanding the language. So the disclaimer is, so the techniques, these techniques which I have mentioned here are not foolproof. That means to say that by applying these techniques, so I cannot guarantee 100% accuracy. But so if we are able to use this technique, 7 out of 10 times our answer may be correct. So our objective while solving the prelims paper is not to get 200 out of 200. So our objective is to maximize the score. So maximizing the score and ensure that one gets around 120 out of 200 in order to be in the safe zone, so that one can clear IFoS cutoff as well. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's start with the discussion. So these are a list of patterns which I have identified, and we would try to understand each of these patterns through example by solving the questions, the PYQ questions. And for this case, so we are solving 2025 last year's PYQs. So without delaying much, so let us start. The first pattern which I have identified is called as unbiasedness while solving the question. So let us try to solve this question. Generally, there is a tendency that when a person sees a topic which he has not read, so he tends to become biased against the question or against the topic. Here in this case, they've talked about wet bulb temperature. So when I was solving this question, for me, this topic was a very new topic. For the first time, I was reading this phrase in the exam. So generally what would happen is, so such a new term would create a panic among the aspirant, and then they either overlook the question or they skip the question. So the pattern which I am trying to explain here is, so an aspirant should be totally unbiased before solving any question for that matter, whether it is known question or unknown question. So we'll try to solve this question. So they're saying that the World Bank warned that India could become one of the first places where wet bulb temperature routinely exceeds 35 degrees Celsius. Which of the following statements reflect the best implication? So the first option is peninsular India will most likely suffer from flooding, tropical cyclones, and droughts. After reading the statement, what we can sense is that, so the question is saying that the temperature exceeds 35 degrees Celsius. From this, even if one is unable to understand what wet bulb temperature is, so we can make sense that there is some sort of global warming conditions. So time and again we would have read that global warming may lead to disasters. That is what they are talking about. And so from this we can correlate that the first statement is most likely correct. And then second statement is the survival of the animals, including humans. So they're talking about animals as well as humans, will be affected as shedding of their heat, that is body heat, through perspiration becomes difficult. Even this looks quite a possible implication of the above statement. So from this we can conclude that the answer is C, both 1 and 2. So if at all, if a person becomes biased, so there is a tendency that he'll overlook this question and he'll miss this question. Now let's see the next question under the same heading. With reference to perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances, water used in making many consumer products, consider the following statements. So when I was solving this question, I was reading this substances for the first time, and there is a tendency that people might overlook, or they might feel that they don't have any idea about this particular substance and they skip. So this happens when a person is biased against a question. So if a candidate is unbiased, so you would carefully read the question and try to correlate the question with the substances, with the options. So let's see the options. PFAS are found to be widespread in drinking water, food packaging materials. So in the question we saw that they are used in making of consumer products. So consumer products are, examples for consumer products are drinking water, food packaging materials. So here we can correlate to some extent. And then the second statement is PFAS are not easily degradable in the environment. So again, this can also be correlated because consumer products would include plastics and other things. So they're obviously not easily degraded. And the third statement is persistent exposure to PFAS can lead to bioaccumulation in body animals. Again, this can also be correlated. So the answer should be all the above. Since I want to keep the videos as short as possible, so I'm ending this part 1 of PYQ analysis here. So I would be discussing the next techniques in the subsequent parts in the upcoming videos. So thank you guys, thank you for staying with me, and I appreciate your patience. And you people if you have any doubts, so please don't forget to mention in the comment section. And if you feel that these videos are helpful, so please do consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you all. Thank you.